All right, everybody, what is up, and welcome to the Tigers Den podcast. It's been a long time of waiting. Been about a year or so since I've done my last episode. Last time I was behind the mic with Tigers Den, I was with Darian Richardson and David Robinson, and I'm just glad to bring it back. David and Darian are on the big boy and better things. David's with Darian Rencher at the Players Lounge podcast, and Darian's in grad school. So I'm your host, Cole Gerard, and I'm with
Peyton Williams.
What's going on, Peyton? How are you?
Doing good, man. We've been talking football a while. Good to get in front of the camera.
And we've been talking about this for a while. We were always at our friend's house saying, when are we going to start a podcast? When are we going to go live? When are we going to talk some ball? And finally, we're here. So let's talk Clemson. Let's talk Clemson football.
Let's do it.
So obviously the betting odds coming out at -20.5 in Clemson's favor. What do you think from that opening odd? Obviously, when it first came out, I think it was a 7-point favor in Clemson's favor. So, talk to me about that. It's been a long bye week since Clemson's masterclass of a performance on offense versus App State. So, just tell me, what you're excited to see.
Yeah, I think the spread changing has a lot to do with the quarterback Grayson McCall not being in. He's played a lot of football games, man. He has been around for a long time. So not having him, I think probably hurts him a little bit, and also coming off Clemson's 66-20 win also helps a little bit as well. So really excited to get back on the field. Really excited to see the Tigers play in Death Valley again this Saturday, and yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
We only get 7 of them a year, and obviously already had one, so it's always good to be in the Valley. I hate it's a noon game, but tailgate atmosphere is always going to be good no matter what time. And how Dabo says, get up, tape your ankles, grab a biscuit, be loud, be early. So let's start off. Let's talk about the O-line, man. We obviously we added Matt Luke in the offensive line room. Guys like Ryan Lithicum, Walker Parks, Harris Sewell, guys like that. Young guys like Harris Sewell. You got a veteran guy in Walker Parks. You got a veteran guy in Ryan Lithicum that made his first start versus Georgia. He's I think a junior or senior now, and he's making his first start. So let's talk about the O-line. Bringing Matt Luke in, obviously with the exit of Thomas Austin at O-line coach, not head coach. So what kind of credit would you give the O-line coming from 2 games and obviously playing NC State on Saturday?
And I mean, first things first, we haven't given up a sack all year. That's pretty impressive regardless. Like you said, we got a couple guys here that are real impressive. Ryan Lithicum, Walker Parks, Chapman Pendergrass, good friend of mine. We got Dietrich Pennington. He actually went down, sadly. But, yeah, these guys are awesome, man. Like I said, no sacks allowed, which is extremely impressive. Marcus Tate, another guy I really like. So excited to see him back on the field again. Excited to see them tear up Death Valley one more time and hopefully not let up another sack again.
Yeah, and not a lot of teams can say that they haven't given up a sack. And being week 3 now, that gives credit, obviously, to the O-line. But even the outside blockers at wide receiver – and Antonio Williams, Jake Brenningstool, you got Olsen Pat Henry getting some blocks in there. What would you say? Obviously in the recent years, our wide receiver room has been a struggle at blocking. So what would you say, giving credit to the blocking outside of the O-line?
Man, the most impressive guy to me is Jake Brenningstool. He's really turned his blocking game around this year. In previous years, he was more just a pass catcher, but now I think Dabo might have lit into him a little bit about being on the outside blocking, and just, I don't know, man. Olsen Pat Henry as well. Like, our tight ends are going off this year, regardless of where they're catching the ball or blocking. Either way, I love them.
Yeah, so let's get into the young receivers and the veteran receivers. Obviously, we got Bryant Westco and TJ Moore coming in at freshman. Let's talk about what has been the leadership in the wide receiver room with Coach Grisham and having these older guys like Antonio Williams is a veteran now that didn't play a lot last year because of his injury. Tyler Brown's considered a veteran now. He's only a sophomore. So how would you say guys like that are leading the fresh 4-stars and TJ Moore and Bryant Westco?
I was about to say, I feel like TJ Moore and Bryant Westco are taking the spotlight a little bit from guys like Antonio Williams and Tyler Brown. Like, those guys have got to show leadership one way or another, and they're sure as heck showing it right now. I mean, you see last week how those guys just performed, and that's all thanks to the guys that are above them, the guys that are a little bit older than them. So, yeah, I'm excited to see them back in the Valley as well. Those guys are electrifying, man.
Let's talk about Bryant Westco. Obviously, his first game as a Tiger, he lit it up with 3 catches for 131 yards.
Yep.
So where would you start with him? Obviously, week 1 he wasn't listed as a starter. We had Adam Randall, Cole Turner as the starters outside of Tyler Brown and Antonio Williams. So, bringing in those guys, obviously we wanted to see them from the start. So, with TJ Moore had his first touchdown, Bryant Wesco had his first touchdown. What do you think is going to get Clemson back to wide receiver U like it was in recent years, dating back to 2018, 2019, when the Jeff Scott era?
I mean, Wesco more electric, like I said earlier, but I think it all starts with guys, those veteran guys that we were talking about. They've got to show those guys how to work and how to play. I think that's what it starts with. I mean, Moore and Wesco obviously have extreme talent, but they've got to be able to learn from the guys up front and the guys that are leading them. I feel like last week, like Adam Randall had 4 catches. Like nobody talks about that. He looked a lot better last week, and I feel like they need leadership and they need role models to break out of the shell. I mean, they already kind of have a little bit, but I think that's what they need.
I can't talk about this enough when I talk about Jake Brenningstool. Jake Brenningstool is a guy that he's a veteran tight end. He's been in the program for 4 years now. It was always trying to get him his type of balls, and all the balls that we try to get to him. I like those middle field routes.
Mm-hmm.
Those little 10-yard comebacks. What would you say how he grew up as a tight end in the room with Coach Richardson?
I mean, I think they're using him the right way now. We got guys that we can finally trust on the outside, like the young guys we were talking about, which opens up Jake Brenningstool to a lot of other different options, man. I agree. Those 10-yard slant routes that he's running are unstoppable, and he's such a force. He's such a big guy. I mean, there's no taking him down.
So Stellato and Randall, obviously they've came off injuries in their starting years as a Clemson Tiger. This is Troy Stellato's 4th year in the program. It's Adams' 3rd year in the program. Adams been banged up a little bit since his freshman year. Troy Stellato is only a 2nd year playing actual football. He's been sidelined for 3 years with torn ACLs each year. So obviously Adam Randall coming in, he's a junior now. Troy Stellato a senior. How can we get those guys in the mix as well with TJ Moore, Bryant Wesco, Antonio Williams, Tyler Brown, guys like that, just to kind of get everybody the ball?
I feel like last week each guy played their role really well. Like Randall and Stellato, they were catching balls. It might not have been for
I think we're back on the cam too. We were out for a little bit. So, the talk of college football these days is always about Dabo not adapting, Dabo this, Dabo that, not using the portal. Will Clemson fall behind after these guys like, our weapons, Antonio Williams, Tyler Brown, when eventually TJ Moore and Bryant Wesco leave? Does Dabo need to adapt to the portal to stay in front of college football, or do you think the Tigers are falling back and are going to be gone in a couple of years?
He's got to, man. It's getting to a point now where, our recruiting class is amazing, but we can't fall behind like some of these other teams are, and we're starting to. I mean, we're 21st in the nation right now, but that's not the Clemson we're used to. I think it just boils down to Dabo having to adapt, and I feel like he can be a little bit hard-headed sometimes, but, he brought us 2 national championships, so you can't complain that much.
And if anybody hates on Dabo more on ESPN, SEC Network, any kind of media personality, is Paul Feinbaum, and I can't stand it. No. I'm the biggest Paul Feinbaum hater, and it's kind of, I think I'm not the only one.
No,
even not even Clemson fans. It's all over the country. He has something to say about any other coach unless you play for Alabama or Kirby Smart. Meanwhile, Kirby Smart kids, a little less football. Let's get more on the driving, get better driving records anyways. So I'm not even going to let that get ahead of me. But I do agree with you on how Dabo needs to use the portal, but I don't think he needs to use it at the moment. I think we probably going to have to bring some guys in next year. Obviously you're going to be a little drought at the quarterback position, depending on how Cade Klubnik does the rest of the year. I hope we have him back next year, but you still got to have depth behind him. Christopher Fazina is going to be a junior next year. Obviously, if you don't start as a junior, you probably want to leave. And I wouldn't be surprised if that did happen. That's just college football at the end of the day.
Little Chase Bryce
go to App State and beat North Carolina, beat Texas A&M on the road. Yeah. So obviously, seeing guys like that are always good to see. And I think Dabo will have to use the portal. Yeah. I think we'll go. We offered guys out the portal last year. Offensive line just didn't pull them down. A guy I wouldn't mind going and get out the portal is Aaron Nolan from Ohio State. just to have a depth at quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, he was a big Clemson recruit, and he's at Ohio State now, and they have a couple blowout wins, and they played 3 quarterbacks, and he wasn't one of them. I mean, he's a 5-star guy, so go get him.
Yeah.
I mean, do what you got to do. Obviously, he wants to be loyal to that Clemson name, Clemson prototype. Don't use the portal. That he's got his guys that, and I get that. I'm not a big fan of paying all these guys $1 million to play for a semester.
Yeah.
I want guys here for like 4 years. Like Bryant Westco, TJ Moore, these guys aren't just here for a semester. We got them at least 3, and we'll take that.
My biggest thing with the portal and falling behind is that even if Dabo starts to use it in a couple of years, teams are going to see that we're not using it, and we're going to fall behind. And teams like Ohio State and Alabama, they're going to get all those guys because they see that we're not using it, and they see that Dabo, you know, he's not out to get the players in college. He's out to get them in high school, which is not a problem for us right now. But in a couple of years, man, they're not going to want to come to Clemson, and that's going to be a huge problem for us.
But at the end of the day, Clemson is always going to be a top-tier program.
Yeah.
I will make that argument with anybody in the country.
And that's because of Dabo.
It's because of Dabo. I mean, he's had 2 national championships here in 16 and 18. I mean, I understand you're going to have to use the portal. I do, and I get that. And I'm with using the portal. I was hoping we were going to go when the portal opened last spring and offer all these quarterbacks, wide receivers, and stuff like that. But hey, at the end of the day, it's Dabo's program, and we're all just fans. So, you know, once we get back from this little break, we're going to talk about Cade Klubnik and his rise.
What's up, guys? We're back. We're going to dive straight into Cade Klubnik, man. He had a fantastic week last week. So what are your thoughts on him?
Dude, if anybody's been a Cade Klubnik supporter these last 3, or he's been on the team for 3 years now, but 2 years as a starter, it's been me. I mean, he hasn't had the 2 years that he'd want to a quarterback, but you got to look at the depth in front of him, behind him, you know, starting off with the offensive line, you know, with Thomas Austin coaching them. I feel like last year the receivers weren't getting any separation. It was guys being hurt all the time. Of course, Antonio Williams was out for a little while. Tyler Brown had a little shakeup. Offensive line seems that we didn't have a lot of healthy guys either. But just finally seeing pieces come together and the fall not being all on Cade Klubnik. I don't think it ever should have been all on Cade Klubnik. But now, you know, you got Matt Luke's offensive line. You got Tyler Grisham's, you know, wide receivers getting separation. blocking very well, getting open, coming down the ball. Let's talk. I want to point out a little thing right now. Cade he went 24 for 26 for 378 yards, 5 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing, all in the first half. Not many quarterbacks can say that. And 2 incompletions were just 2 throwaways. We had no drops. I don't remember the last time Clemson football had 0 drops. I mean, can you think?
No.
I mean, it's been a while. So obviously just seeing those pieces come together, guys being healthy, offensive line getting their blocks down, just giving Cade time in the pocket. Because Cade's problem last year was, freaking out. I get it. He was a first-year starter, freaking out in the pocket, having loud feet, just kind of just moving around and throwing the ball unnecessarily. Like obviously he would throw it up most. I mean, with that pick 6 versus Charleston Southern when he just threw it up and they came down with it, that shouldn't happen. I mean, like versus App State when he ran outside the pocket, he didn't see a guy, threw it away. Okay, get back. Next snap, it was a touchdown.
Comfortable.
Very comfortable. Yeah. So just talk to me. Tell me your thoughts on what you think of his growth. He's a junior, second year starting, second year under Garrett Riley. What do you think?
Dude, I think he's comfortable with his team now. You got that O-line, that powerful O-line that hadn't allowed a sack all year. I mean, that's ridiculous. Like 24-26, how do you beat that? You got five passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. You can't beat it, man. I mean, he looked comfortable back there, and I hope, going into ACC play this week that he can still be comfortable. I'm rooting for him, man, just as much as you are.
And I think he will. He's got all the pieces in front of him, like I keep saying. It's always been, and date back to DJ, it was always it's DJ's fault. It was Cade's fault. And I'm not saying DJ is not the best quarterback. I mean, I was a big DJ. I just got to be honest. I was high on DJ when he was here. I felt like, do I think he was an elite quarterback? No. But do I think it was all his fault? No. It was guys like the offensive line. The wide receivers weren't getting separation. We were just not playing full as a whole offense. And let me tell you, first 2 plays against App State, throwing it little screen passes, and then we ran it in the middle, didn't go anywhere. I literally looked at my brother. I was like, here we go.
from Georgia.
Here we go. I was like, here we go. It's going to be a long game. Next play, aired it out to Brian Westco, and I was like, we're back.
That's all we need. Even if those balls are dropped, even if they're incomplete, like it's so nice to finally see Cade doing Cade things and sling his arm around. Like that's what we've been expecting the last couple of years, and it's finally here. We
haven't been able to see that. Last year I feel like he had a lot of deep routes, but it wasn't it wasn't being called regularly. It was when we were down 14, 3rd and 36, just trying to get something out there. And I'm glad to finally see freshmen get looks. I mean, it was the second game of the year, and the fans wanted it. Not even the fans. I mean, I'm sure the players, the coaches wanted it. Bryant Westco, TJ Moore, where are they at? Why are they not starting? Why are we bringing guys like this here to sit on the bench? And I get your veterans behind them deserve the playing time, and I get that. But like Cade said, we'll spread the ball all over the field. We'll play as many guys as we need to, and we can't rely on 2 guys to do it.
Even seeing Phil Moffitt back there, like he's a beast, like 118 yards. But then you got guys like Jay Haynes. I love Jay Haynes, man. 5 rushes, 49 yards, 9.8 yards a carry. Like you love to see those young guys get in, get some confidence. I mean, we won 66-20, but I mean, it's still good to see them get in there and get some touches.
Yeah. So let's speak on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, the news with Peter Woods, he went out last week, and he's day to day. But I don't see Dabo playing him to kind of risk it. It's only game 3. Got a long season ahead. Who do you think has to step up in that role? Obviously we got TJ Parker, we got DeMonte Capehart, we got Kay Denhoff, Peyton Page, guys like that. Who do you think has to finally say, okay, this is my time?
I mean, he's a veteran, but we need more out of Barrett Carter.
Yep. I'm a big Barrett Carter fan, and I think him and Wade Woodaz back there are very, very, very scary.
Wade Woodaz is the most underrated player on our team by far.
And I fully believe if Wade Woodaz has a year like he did last year and just keep getting bigger, bigger, and bigger, you can kiss him goodbye after this year. I think he'll be going after this year.
I don't know. I think he's finally finding his role here, and he's playing lights out, man. Like he's almost filling into that captain role of the team. And having Sammy Brown at the linebacker position as well, he led our team in tackles with 9 last week. That's all you can ask out of that guy too.
Yeah, Sammy Brown. Obviously with Kobe McLeod coming down with that, I think it was a torn meniscus, torn ACL, something. He's out for the year. Is going to get Sammy Brown a lot more snaps, and more than he thought he would get this year. He's a starter on special teams, but I mean, he wants to play his position.
Yeah, he should.
and I think, he had 9 total tackles, 7 solo. So, And another guy on the defensive line when Peter got hurt was Steph Green. I think that's how you say his name, Steph Green, or he's a freshman.
Yeah.
I mean, he stepped up as well. He had 3 solo tackles, and he had 3 total, and they were all 3 solos.
Yep.
Getting back there fast. Let's talk about DeMonte Capehart. I mean, he's a 5th year now. This is his first year starting.
Yeah.
That's what Dabo preaches about, being loyal to the program. I mean, he's a 5th year making his 3rd career start.
I love to see it.
Nate, I mean,
Trey Williams as well.
Trey Williams. I mean, he's been hurt too, but like DeMonte Capehart, he's been mostly healthy his whole career here. But a lot of guys would not stay loyal to the program, would have transferred out years ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that's where Dabo doesn't get enough credit. Is he keeps his players.
Yep.
I mean, obviously each team's going to have transfers year in and year out, but a 5th year making his 3rd career start, and that's climbing mock drafts and on top of draft boards.
Yeah.
I think something. I've been saying last year, I said DeMonte Capehart is going to step up, and he did last year, and he's making a name for himself, and he's going to get called in the 2025 NFL draft.
Peyton Page as well. He's been an animal back there too. And then you got guys in the back like Shelton Lewis, Khalil Barnes. They looked great last week. I would like to see a little bit more from Tyler Venables. He didn't have his best week last week. Kay Denhoff as well. I mean, I know those guys got unlimited potential. I'd like to see them unlock that.
Yep. Last couple of years, with the exit of BT Potter, Clemson has seemed to not be able to find their field goal kicker.
Welcome to Tiger Town, Nolan Hauser, baby.
Welcome to Tiger Town, Nolan Hauser. You heard it. Let's talk about him. He's 2 for 2 for field goals, 36 and 26, and then he's 9 for 9 on his extra points. I will say he should have been 1 for 1 on the field goals, or not 1 for 2.
Oh yeah,
he kind of doinked it and made it. So let's keep talking about him, and obviously Robert Gunn keeping the kickoff duties. What are you most excited for to finally have that guy that we can send out there and trust?
Man, I don't dislike Robert Gunn. He has been incredible kicking off balls this year and last year. I mean, he's got a leg on him, but I think sometimes gets a little aggressive, and that's part of a team, man. You got Nolan coming in and making the field goals, and you got Robert kicking off, and it's worked extremely well. And then our punter, Aiden Swanson, he's solid. He was a All-ACC player last year, I believe. So just seeing Nolan come in and 2 for 2, 36-26, that doesn't scream distance or anything, but the thing that stands out to me the most is 9 for 9 on extra points. I mean, last year I feel like every time Gunn stepped up to kick the ball, it was a little nerve-wracking. And I mean, like I said, that's nothing to do with him. Like he has his other strengths, but I mean, it's definitely great to see Nolan in there kicking the rock.
And I'm glad that we still have Robert Gunn at kicking off, because I feel like he boots it in the back of the end zone every time and doesn't give teams a chance to return it. But obviously, you got to find your guy eventually, and I think we did with Nolan Hauser, who's got some family on campus as well. His sister's a soccer player here, so his family's well known for using their legs.
Kickers are athletes too.
Kickers are athletes too, and I totally agree. Well, it seems like we keep having some trouble with our camera, but we're going to keep talking. I mean, it's all about the talk, not about what we're looking at. So
they don't want to see our faces anymore.
Nah, I wouldn't either. But so obviously we talked about earlier, Grayson McCall is out for NC State. This brings in 6'6" freshman CJ Bailey.
He's huge.
Who led NC State to an 11-point comeback win against LA Tech. He's a freshman quarterback on the road in Death Valley, first career start, and NC State has not won in Death Valley since 2002 with Phillip Rivers. So not many guys can say they made their first career start in Death Valley as a freshman. So
I feel bad for him.
I feel totally bad for him. And if I was him, obviously he's going to have that high. He's going to have that swagger. He's going to come in here and kick Clemson's tail. Let's talk reality.
So my score prediction for this week is 38-17. However, I do not see NC State scoring in the first half. I think he comes out there, looks scared. I think our defense capitalizes of what they built on last week. I think they got a good coach. They come in there with a good game plan in the second half. I think they do score 17 points, but I think the Tigers will be consistent in their offense and their defense. Hopefully, we hadn't played a full 4 quarters of football yet on the defensive side, and I'd really love to see them do that this week. But yeah, CJ Bailey, he's an animal. He's huge. So we'll see. A little bit better in LA Tech this week, but I mean, regardless, 11-point comeback's pretty impressive.
And I think we will give them a better look than LA Tech did. But I mean,
Yeah.
LA Tech's defense can't be good at all, and I don't think NC State's defense is good at all. And I really do believe that our defense is going to give them a tough time back there.
Yeah.
You know, like we were talking about earlier, NC State runs at 3-3-5.
Yep. They're
So
gonna blitz somebody.
very much they're going to send the house, and that's going to be the time that we finally see if this offensive line stands up.
0 sacks. Just keep it going.
Keep it going. Let's get into the ACC as a whole. You know, teams, you know, we don't have as many teams ranked as SEC. We get it. I think we have 3 teams ranked. I think it's us, Syracuse, and Miami.
Louisville.
Wait, so that means
Louisville's ranked.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So Louisville, Clemson, Miami.
Yep.
Cam Ward at Miami. You know, preseason, this and that. They think Miami's going to get back to an ACC tournament. Title. Miami's automatic in the playoffs. You know, they're getting the top 4 seed. Count Clemson out. K Klubnik sucks. And then you got Louisville.
Yeah.
Louisville, you know, made their first ACC title appearance last year, and I was pulling harder for them than anybody in the country. But I think Louisville loses 2 games before they play us. But, you know, if we see Miami, it's obviously in the title game. What do we need? I want ACC football to be talked about. But I also want to get out the ACC.
Yeah.
But while we're in it, I want it to be talked about. And I want us to get some respect as well.
Yeah.
So what do you think, you know, with Miami, Louisville? I mean, teams like Boston College, obviously they dropped out the rankings and they lost by, I think, 7 on the road at top 10 Missouri. It's not a bad loss at all.
No.
And it doesn't really hurt your playoff resume because as long as you're undefeated in conference, you're getting in.
Yeah.
So just what does it take for the ACC to get on the map? I feel like we're on the map with Clemson, obviously won the ACC for 8 years in a row, and then we have 2 titles.
I mean, it's good seeing teams like Louisville in there, man. Like you said, the ACC was pretty much run by Florida State and Clemson. And honestly, the game I'm still most scared of on our schedule is Florida State. I know that may kind of shock a couple people, and it might be a hot take, but I mean, at the end of the day, Florida State's Florida State, and we're going into Tallahassee for that game. DJ playing against his former team. That game honestly scares me the most. And then you got Louisville, obviously. I think we do see Miami in the ACC championship. However, I think they do drop one. That's just my prediction. But I mean, Cam Ward's awesome, man. It's good to have some electricity in the ACC like Cam Ward. So it's good to. All-time leader in wins as a conference coach.
Yeah. So I remember a couple years ago, I think it was either 100 or 150 for Dabo. It was after we beat North Carolina in 2015.
Yeah.
You would think Clemson has more than 800 wins, and that's a lot of wins.
Yeah.
Dating back, but I feel like
back to the Textile Bowl, which is this weekend. Not talked enough about the old Textile Bowl.
The Textile Bowl is one of the most underrated games, and obviously College Football 25 gets it because people are like, how was that game of the week on the video game? I'm like, this is history. And this is also the last home Textile Bowl for Clemson until 2028 or 2029.
Yep. So
it kind of sucks because I love beating up on NC State. We haven't won there since 2019.
They always scare me, dude.
Yes. Thank God this is in the Valley.
Hopefully Phillip Rivers doesn't show up.
If Phillip Rivers shows up at quarterback Saturday, we're going to have to,
going straight downtown.
We're going to have to take him out.
Yeah.
You know, it's always, I always get scared to play NC State. 2 years ago during game day, I was like, this is going to be a tough game.
Yeah.
And it was a good game. I feel like offensively, I think we put up 30. I think we could have put up a lot more, but it was the DJ led offense. Still the same mistakes that we kept seeing from 2021, you know. And now we got K Klubnik at quarterback. He played him last year in his first start versus them on the road. No offense at all that game. I can't remember the final score, but I can't remember the linebacker for NC State just tore us up. He had that pick 6.
Peyton Wilson.
Peyton Wilson. He went top 10 in the draft. Did he not?
Yeah.
He was
still in the NFL. I think that's his name. But yeah, he was good. Dude, I think this game's going to say a lot about Cade. I mean, obviously, I didn't think he played that bad against Georgia, man. Everybody always says he plays terrible. He plays terrible against Georgia. I didn't see it. I think he didn't look comfortable, obviously, but he didn't look terrible. And then you go up there against App State and tear their butt up. So I think going into ACC play this week is going to say a lot about him. I'm rooting for him.
And I wouldn't even say he wasn't comfortable versus Georgia. I just don't think, I don't think he had the help.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're playing the best front seven in college football. You're
Right.
not going to play a better defense than Georgia. I mean, and you know, South Carolina fans, no hate to you guys. We'll see you in November. But it's funny how they always come up with these conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
And I think we got a caller.
Oh, let's go.
Let's see what they got to say.
803. It's my hometown.
This guy. Peyton, go ahead.
What up, Remy?
Can you hear us? Peyton, don't let him dish you like that. What's up, man?
John Wimmer, the South Carolina fan, he's up here this weekend.
Is this John Wimmer?
He's up here this weekend thinking that NC State's gonna get a dub, but he needs to be worried about his own team.
John Wimmer, can we get your brother Kyle Wimmer on the line to talk some ball? So, John, can I ask you a question? What do you think is going to happen this Saturday in the Valley? Is that the Gamecock mentality coming out of you? Is that how you really feel? Well, you heard it. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, John.
Well, John, thank you for calling in, and we're going to be big Angels fans next year.
That's right. Go Angels.
Dude, Dylan Stewart's never played Clemson. So, all right. Well, there's John Wimmer. Hopefully they get a win versus Akron this Saturday. It's not guaranteed either. I'm not going to speak on that game because we have our own game to worry
That's
about.
right.
But appreciate you calling in, John. All right, man. Go Angels. Well, it's Peyton Williams' buddy, John Wimmer. Fun fact, he is an Angel.
Not quite.
Not quite. He's got to be somewhere. But, you know, guys, it's a little episode just to get back in. It's been about a year since we did a Tigers Den podcast. And I don't know if y'all could hear John actually in the stream, but we could hear him. So I hope we weren't just talking to ourselves.
Y'all don't need to hear him anyways.
Yeah, he didn't need to hear him. He had some terrible takes. That K Club was throwing for negative yards. NC State was going to wipe the floor, and Dylan Stewart was going to – he owns Clemson, but, you know, he's a freshman. So.
Crazy takes.
But, yeah, Peyton, I appreciate you getting on. This will be an every week thing. We'll have to figure out when we'll do it. We'll try to do it on Thursdays, just kind of when we get available. But I think it was a good little episode to get back and talk some Clemson football. And hopefully you'll beat the NC State Wolfpack.
Hey, it's a guarantee.
Yep. So I appreciate you guys joining, and we'll see you next time.